Some Amazon KDP books look great at first glance. They have a solid cover, decent title, even a few reviews, but they still fail to sell. So in today's Amazon KDP book audit video, I'm reviewing real Amazon listings that check most of the boxes, but something is still not quite right. So we're going to uncover all the subtle mistakes that could be quietly stopping you from being successful on Amazon KDP. And in case you're new to this channel, Cleo and I have been self-publishing on Amazon for over 6 years, and since then we have sold over 240,000 books. So if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe, and let's get right into this video. So the first self-publishing Titans user that submitted his book said that they want feedback on the description, pricing, A+ content, impression, book title, cover design, and the niche choice. And this is their first book. So it's really exciting. And their goal is to sell a book and earn 300 to 1,000 per month. So that's a really realistic goal. So let's go ahead and check this out. So we can see that they have a beautiful cover, really well illustrated. So we can see that this whole cover looks fully custom illustrated. I love the background, I like the colors, I like the fun ant. And it says Looney Ant Adventures. And then Amanda Moore is the author and Olivia Harris is the illustrator. Not much feedback other than maybe consider putting it somewhere at the bottom and slightly more legible, but that is totally up to you, just a slight preference point. But beautiful cover, I love it. Let's look at the title and subtitle. So it says Looney Ant Adventures. So that sounds fun. And then video illustrated short story book for kids ages 6 to 10. Picture book for young dreamers ages 4 to 8. Perfect bedtime story gift. All right, so a couple of things here I think we can do to improve the title. So when it said video illustrated, I wasn't quite sure what that means. And I guess we'll see if you explain it further along, but just right at the bat, I would not have this as the beginning of this subtitle. I do very much like the short story book for kids. That's definitely a really good keyword. So I think it would do much better if it was in the beginning of the subtitle. And then here there was just a slight contradiction because it says ages 6 to 10, and then here it says ages 4 to 8. And since Cleo and I have published a lot of books over the years in many different Amazon marketplaces, we know that 6 to 10 is not really the best age group, but ages 4 to 8 absolutely is. So I would suggest not having that in the subtitle, especially because it contradicts with this. But this is also a much better age group that is actually searched for on Amazon. So this is a really good thing to have. And then lastly, I would just remove the word gift. So with Amazon books, that's one thing that's usually not liked by Amazon. So for future books or even for the Kindle ebook version, you can update the title and remove that. And then even for the ebook title, I would just take that out and then have it start with that. And I like the fact that you have it both hardcover and paperback. But since this is also a kid's book, I would highly recommend having this as an audiobook and then also selling it on Amazon and Audible ACX. And I think that can also really help you with your long-term sales and also with your building your brand. I can see that you have 77 reviews. I'm guessing that a lot of these might be from some kind of ARC review program, since currently it doesn't seem like there's too many sales. I'm just looking at your bestseller rank chart. We can see that when you first released the book, it was getting sales. We can see the purple line, which is the bestseller rank going down. But then more recently, it's been kind of flatlined, except recently it looks like you got a couple more sales. And the bestseller rank peaked at about 100,000. So it's great that you got sales and good for taking initiative with some kind of review program. That's really good. Looks like it really paid off with a high average rating. I like that you have bullet points, one section for kids and one section for the parents, so that's kind of cool. I also like that your beginning of the description is kind of short and it goes into these kind of quick. The one thing that you might consider is just removing this, all of this extra space, because then the bullet points will be much higher up and the parents will be able to see the bullet points before clicking read more. So they'll see most of them actually. I think that could be one improvement for the description, but other than that, I think it's well executed. All right, so let's see your A+ content. So this is beautiful. This is such a high quality cover design, really nice. This is also really playful and beautifully designed. So good job on A+ content. I'm a big fan of the images, big fan of also having text. So that's really cool. Also nice that you're promoting your socials. And let's take a look at your About the Author section. Nice profile picture, nice smile. And then looks like a really good detailed section here. Also talking about your personal life a little bit and your son, so that's really great. Let's look at the reviews. This is awesome to have reviews that show pictures and show the high quality book that you made. So I think in the long run, this will only help you. Oh, and I guess here you can see the video illustration. So that's also really cool. I haven't really seen it before. So that's thinking outside the box. So yeah, I think overall you did really well. Let's just quickly take a look at your main keyword and see if we can help you out with that. So here we can see our Titans Pro Chrome extension, and we can see that short story book for kids is actually really, really great. We can see that almost all of these keywords have a high opportunity score and really good demand scores, at least for most of them. And the search volume is really good, and for most of these, the search results are really low. So this is a very, very good niche. Cleo and I have also created some kids story books actually in this niche too, and it's done well for us. I just want to look at some of these age groups. So here we can see 6 to 8, which is interesting. I don't see 4 to 8 for these ones, but I do know for activity and puzzle books, 4 to 8 is really popular. Let's just go slightly broader to see what else we can see. Okay, so we can see 3 to 5. I also saw 6 to 8, 8 to 10. I still think 4 to 8 is really fine just because of all the keywords that we have seen and used in the past and from Amazon ads. But for your 7 backend keywords, I would definitely make sure to also target other age groups that are still within that appropriate age range. But yeah, otherwise the title looks fine. Just once again, I remove the word gift and then maybe removing that. So it starts with short storybook for kids, and then I would make it either stick with the 4 to 8 or change that to 6 to 8. But I think 4 to 8 is much better because it's a broader age group. So maybe it could be short storybook for kids, ages 4 to 8. And then you also don't need to repeat the word ages twice. And then perfect bedtime storybook. So that's also good. You're targeting storybook in just a different way. So I think that's also fine. So yeah, I think overall you're doing great. Fix the title a little bit, consider doing your audiobook for this book, and then I think continue with your second book, and then I think you'll do great. Definitely looks like a high quality book and listing, so good job on that. And let's go to the next book. So this next book here, they want feedback just in general, A+ content, pricing, description, cover design, and they have published multiple times. And then this book is for kids 4 to 11. And here they do say that this was the first book they published, so that's great. So let's take a look here. So we can see that their bestseller rank is 900,000, which means the book has sold a few times, but currently not really making much of any sales. But we do have really good reviews, which is great. And this book is selling in the UK. So obviously one thing to also just point out is if you have an English book, you can run ads not only in the UK, but also in the USA, Canada, and Australia. And that's something I would highly, highly recommend. There have been many books that Cleo and I published on Amazon that were intended, for example, for the USA, but then they started doing really well organically in Canada or in the UK or the other way around. Like we wanted to rank some book in the UK, but then it started doing really well in Canada or the USA. So you never know where it's going to hit the most. But if you can run ads in all countries for a bit, you can definitely have potentially better chances of ranking in all countries and then getting more sales overall. So that's one tip that you can consider doing if you're not doing it already. Looking at the cover, I think this is beautiful. I love the image. I love the happy dog. I like the flowers. I like the font and the text. There's not much I could critique about this. Maybe the only thing I would slightly consider is maybe making sure the grass goes until the end, but that's just a slight preference. Otherwise, I think it's beautiful. And you could even center the author name just so everything is centered, but that's not a big deal. Now looking at the title is very short and then no subtitle, which could be okay, but if you are going to have just a title, you have to make sure that your 7 backend keywords are really, really spot on and really getting all the right keywords. Otherwise, Amazon is not going to know what to rank your book for. So this alone could be one of the factors your book isn't selling so much. And then I already see one huge missed opportunity, which is having an ebook. So if you're going to have a paperback book, you might as well also have a Kindle ebook. And this will be great not only for the UK, but also the other English countries. And the great thing about having more than one book format is that both of these are separate listings. So each of them can rank organically on the Amazon listings and get you sales, which will only be beneficial for you. All right, so let's look at the description here. So I can see that there's a couple bullet points. They were a little bit hard to notice at first, so I would recommend having the bullet points below this sentence and then try to come up with 2 more bullet points. Having 5 bullet points is the sweet spot, and I think that would just improve your description. And then you do have a call to action, which is good. You could even make it more direct, but it's totally fine otherwise. Good job on having a profile picture. Looks like it's a good one. And then let's check out your A+ content. So it looks like you have some nice illustrations for the entire book, or maybe this is other books. If this is other books, I would maybe say that these are other books. If it's illustrations inside of this book, I would leave it. That's totally fine. But the only thing I noticed is that this cover is different to this one. So maybe this was your first design and then you updated it. So I would update this section with your new cover design so it's matching. And then I like that you showed some insides, but what I don't really like is that this looks like a different format to this book. So maybe wherever you created this image, just try to find a size that's a little bit closer to that. And I think that will look slightly better. And then you could also make it a little bit more bright, like the pages should be white. So then I think it will also pop more. All right, let's see what else there is here for little readers. That looks cute. I like it. I think you could improve your A+ content with having some additional text section that maybe talk about your book more, or maybe give a little glimpse of some of the stories. You could even consider making each of these a smaller image for your A+ content and then not having it there. Maybe that looks a little bit better. But good job on having the A+ content, so that's the first step. Here we can see the dog. Maybe this book is about your dog, which is really fun. And I like the fact that you have a longer description about yourself as an author. And then we can see your first written review, so that's great. So yeah, so I guess the key points would be having at least an ebook here, and then if you can, also have an audiobook. I think both together would be really, really good. And then you might as well also do a hardcover version for this book and have the 4 listings all together. And then since you don't really have any keywords in your title, it'll be really, really important for you to really optimize your 7 backend keywords. So you can use a tool like Titans Pro Chrome extension or our 7 backend keywords tool on the Self-Publishing Titans websites, and that might do you well. But otherwise, that would be all for this book, and hope that's helpful. Let's check out the next book. All right, so this book, they're asking for niche choice specifically, and this is their first book, so that's super exciting. Can't wait to see your book. And then it says, the main goal about the book is tell about the period of growing up, so I guess it's for kids. A book about a difficult period in life of a teenager and his family. Cool, let's see what this is all about. So this is back in the USA, and we can see that it has a bestseller rank of 4 million. So it has sold a couple times, but currently not doing much. And then the first thing that stood out to me is that the author name, the first letters are not capitalized. And then here, the second one, it's all caps, and then the second word is not capitalized. So I would just fix that, just capitalize the first letters of the words, and then maybe also having that lowercase so everything is matching a bit. Let's look at the cover. So the cover looks great. No major complaints here. I like the font. I like that it's at the top and that it stands out a bit from the cover. The one thing I did notice here is that it seems like it's off-center a little bit. So if you look at the red lines here, there's a bigger margin space than over here. So that's something I would just fix just so it's fully professional looking. But other than that, I think great. Your title says The Melting Snowman's Secret. So that's kind of fun. So since this book is 39 pages, I'm guessing it's medium to high content. So in that case, you could even consider having like a little bit more of a subtitle potentially. And then maybe you could even get in a couple keywords. And then I do see here that you only have a paperback. You're missing the ebook and the hardcover. So that's something easy you could do. And if your book suits, then also really consider doing an audiobook. But I'm not sure if there's enough text to warrant an audiobook. But at least the other formats you could do, especially the Kindle ebook, I think that would do you well. And I'm guessing you chose $15.99 because this is a colored book. That's the only thing that makes sense there, which is fine. And here it says you published your book in October of 2023. So it's a couple years old already, but not making any sales. So I guess that's why you wanted the help. Let's quickly use the Titans Quick View Chrome extension to see your bestseller rank over time. So we can see it's only sold a couple times. Whenever there's dips, that's when it's selling. So it looks like it's only sold a few copies. So I think the main problem with this listing is probably your backend keywords, because your title sounds fine, but there's obviously no keywords keywords in it. Your cover is mostly good, just slightly off center, which would be an easy fix. Yeah, so probably the 7 backlink keywords is where it went wrong and Amazon didn't fully understand what your book is about and didn't give it organic rankings. Looks like you chose good categories, so that's good. Gives Amazon some data. But I think for you, the biggest thing would be using some 7 backlink keywords tool. You can use the one from Self-Publishing Titans, or manually find keywords yourself with maybe the Titans Pro Chrome extension. But make sure you really fix that. And since you don't have the other formats, you can create the other formats and create a brand new launch for each of these new book formats. And then this paperback could also pick up in sales and organic rankings. So I think there's still hope for this book. Then the other thing I would still recommend you do is instead of having 1 bullet point, create 5 bullet points, but make them short. And then maybe this can be below the bullet points. And then after all of this, also have a little call to action for someone to buy your book. And I think that would already improve things. And in here, there's just a couple things from the publisher. But I would definitely make sure to also have a full A+ content section. I think that will also do well. But yeah, so I think create the other formatting types, launch those with ads, run those for a couple of weeks, maybe do some Facebook marketing, maybe do some social media marketing with some videos about your book. On Pinterest, and if you want to do videos, you can do that for TikTok, for YouTube, Instagram, etc. But I think this has good chances, and obviously you created 1 book, so maybe you can create another book and then make a series. I think that can also help you with your sales. All right, so those were the next 3 videos. I hope you found that useful. If you got any value out of this video, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below of future videos you'd like to see, and then make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.